Welcome one, welcome all to the 2017 WillFoxification Oscar predictions video. I've been looking forward to hosting this event ever since I got my first taste of hosting events back at the 2017 WillFoxification Movie Awards. Before we get started, I want to take this opportunity to give a big round of applause to all the beautiful people that we love and look up to that decided to attend tonight's ceremony, nominated or not. You're all great and we love you. Just wish you actually took the time to show up to the WillFoxification Award show, but I guess you all just happened to be busy that night or something, you know? I just find it kind of weird that you showed up to an Oscar prediction ceremony. Cut him off, he's embarrassing himself. Cut to commercial break, this is a disaster. I repeat, a disaster. Break, please.
About half of men over 40 have some degree of erectile dysfunction.
But let's just move on. So tonight's ceremony will be all about making predictions for the actual Oscars ceremony that is scheduled to take place on Sunday the 26th of February at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time on ABC. In this video, I'll simply be making predictions for what candidates I think will win in 13 different categories. Just to clarify, these are not the candidates that I think should necessarily win. These are my predictions for who and what I think the Academy will choose to give their awards to come Oscar night. If you're looking for my personal choices for a lot of these big categories, check out the WillFoxification 2017 Movie Award Show video, and in that video I conduct my own award show, nominate my own candidates, and choose my own winners. This video will simply be prediction based. These predictions will be based off my own interpretation of the general public as well as established critics' perceptions regarding the various candidates selected by the Academy. We're going to look at the nominees for each of these 13 categories. I'll select who I think will win and explain why, and we're going to look back at the last 5 winners in these categories and whether there's a pattern that can be applied to this year's ceremony. And with that said, let's jump right into our first category, Best Supporting Actor. Now, Best Supporting Actor is one of the big 4 or 5 categories of Oscar night because winning this award can completely change an actor's career. Winning an individual award and then having the label of Academy Award winner next to your name is something that can really give an enhanced sense of credibility to an actor, and thus moviegoers and studios generally consider you a great actor. I think the 5 nominees for Best Supporting Actor are all worthy of this award, but since the Academy has to choose one, let's go ahead and take a look so we can make our prediction. The 5 nominees for Best Supporting Actor of 2016 film are Mahershala Ali, Moonlight; Michael Shannon, Nocturnal Animals; Jeff Bridges, Hell or High Water; Lucas Hedges, Manchester by the Sea; and Dev Patel, Lion. And my prediction for the Oscar is Mahershala Ali, Moonlight. While I think this category is pretty loaded with very strong performances, I think Mahershala Ali's performance in Moonlight is going to be too great to ignore. He's not even in the movie all that much, but the screen time he does have leaves a very strong impression on you. Juan is the best acted character in this film, and I think the Academy will appropriately honor Mahershala Ali and propel his career to even greater heights. Now, looking back at the winners of this award over the last 5 years, where does Mahershala Ali fit in? Well, 4 of the 5 winners were first-time winners, meaning they may have been nominated for an Academy Award before, but they hadn't won one. The 5th, Christoph Waltz, had already previously won the award for his role in Inglourious Basterds. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, 4 of the 5 nominees fit this description. Yes, but let's dig a little deeper. The Screen Actors Guild Awards, or SAG Awards, are generally a pretty good predictor of how the Oscars will go. 3 of the last 5 winners in the Best Supporting Actor category at the SAG Awards went on to win the Oscars as well, those being Christopher Plummer, Jared Leto, and J.K. Simmons. And who won the SAG Award for Best Supporting Actor this year? That'd be Mahershala Ali. Mahershala Ali would be my pick as well, and I think he will hoist the trophy Sunday night. Okay, so moving on to our second category of the evening, Best Supporting Actress. Obviously, this is another one of the big 5 or so categories because this award is either going to further cement an actress's place among the greats, or it's going to propel an actress's career and status to even greater heights. These 5 are incredibly impressive in their roles, and this is going to be a very tough decision for the Academy. Now, with that said, let's take a look at the 5 nominees for Best Supporting Actress of 2016 film. Viola Davis, Fences; Naomi Harris, Moonlight; Nicole Kidman, Lion; Octavia Spencer, Hidden Figures; and Michelle Williams, Manchester by the Sea. And my prediction for the Oscar is Viola Davis, Fences. Viola Davis is one of those actresses that's been around for a while but has never really gotten the opportunity to really shine in a supporting or leading role in a truly great film besides The Help. In Fences, she is right there with Denzel carrying this film to greatness. Without these two, this film would be way less dramatic and effective, and Viola Davis in my eyes just became one of the elite actresses in the game after her work in Fences. She did everything you could have asked for and then some. She was amazing throughout and she showed some serious range. Okay, so where does Viola Davis fit in? Well, among the last 5 Oscar winners in this category, all 5 of them were first-time winners, but the 2 that jump out to me the most are winners Patricia Arquette and Octavia Spencer, actresses that had been around for a while but never landed in the right role and truly got the opportunity to display their greatness. The other 3 winners were relatively young up-and-comers, which you could argue some of the 2017 candidates are as well, but when we look at the 2016 SAG winner for the Best Supporting Actress category, our winner is Viola Davis, and the last 5 winners in this category went on to win the Oscar as well. I think Viola Davis continues this trend and deservedly so. Alright, so our third category of the evening is Best Cinematography. Best Cinematography is a bit of a trickier category to judge because depending upon the genre, the tone of the film in general, and the sheer level of excellence that is demanded from the visual aspect of storytelling, you're probably going to have a lot of people that favor one film's cinematography over the others based heavily on their overall impressions of the film itself. These 5 nominees all implemented forms of cinematography that drastically differ from one another simply because the tone of the stories do as well. But with that said, let's take a look at our 5 nominees for Best Cinematography of 2016 film. Arrival, La La Land, Lion, Moonlight, and Silence. And my prediction for the Oscar is La La Land. La La Land offers a visual experience unlike any other that I've personally ever seen before, and I think a lot of the critics are going to feel the exact same way. From the lighting techniques to the composition of the shots, everything about La La Land from a visual standpoint is pure excellence. There's a very heavy burden placed on the visual storytelling elements of this film, and they deliver something truly unforgettable to say the least. So let's take a look at the last 5 Oscar winners for Best Cinematography. What pattern do we notice here? Well, to me, all 5 of these films offer visual experiences that are completely unique and unlike any other film released around that general time. These are often groundbreaking films visually that completely shatter the mold and offer something fresh and memorable. When we look back at the last 5 winners of the Critics' Choice Award for Best Cinematography, 4 of the 5 winners went on to win the Oscar, and who won this year's Critics' Choice Award for Best Cinematography, you ask? Well, La La Land did. La La Land delivers a visual experience that tells the story in its own right and its storytelling at the highest level. Okay, so on to our 4th category of the evening, Best Original Score. Music is something that plays a huge role in the overall emotional impact of a film. Without a good score, it's really hard to feel the full emotional weight of the story. There are exceptions to this, like No Country for Old Men, but generally the music helps guide your emotions to exactly where they're supposed to be. And the tricky balance is doing that while also paralleling the on-screen action. Tricky indeed. With that said, the 5 nominees for Best Original Score are La La Land by Justin Hurwitz, Moonlight by Nicholas Brittle, Lion by Dustin O'Halloran and Hauschka, Jackie by Mika Levi, and Passengers by Thomas Newman. And my prediction for the Oscar is La La Land by Justin Hurwitz. I've stated before that I'm not even a big fan of musicals, but the music in La La Land is just overwhelmingly good. The soundtrack to this film is just so incredibly written that I don't feel like any of the other 4 nominees even stand a chance, to be honest. Not that they're not great, but Justin Hurwitz's work in La La Land is all-time great, and I think it's going to be extremely tough for anyone to beat La La Land in this category. And looking back at the last 5 Oscar winners in this category, well, to be honest, it's pretty difficult to find any sort of pattern. The music in these films are so vastly different than one another that there really doesn't seem to be any correlation between the winners of the last 5 years. But when we look at the last 5 winners of the Critics' Choice Awards for Best Original Score, 3 of the 5 went on to win the Oscar, and La La Land received the award this year. La La Land to me will win this category, I'm fairly certain of it. Okay, so chugging right along to our 5th category of the evening, Best Sound Editing. Now, Best Sound Editing is another one of those categories that's a bit tricky to judge, because while there are certainly films that have an enhanced sense of sound that add a lot to the entertainment experience, a lot of people aren't going to really notice this, and that's kind of the trick. Great sound immerses you into a story without you even realizing it, and these 5 films nominated all do that effortlessly in their own unique way. Now let's take a look at these 5 nominees for Best Sound Editing. Arrival, Deepwater Horizon, Hacksaw Ridge, La La Land, and Sully. And my prediction for the Oscar is Arrival. When it comes to sci-fi films, sound plays a huge role because in order to immerse yourself into this sci-fi story, you're going to need to feel like the technology, the advanced beings, and everything else sci-fi related feel real. And Arrival delivers a sense of realism through sound that is really unlike any other sci-fi film that I've personally ever experienced. Most of the scenes of the humans interacting with the heptapods are chock full of awesome, immersive, and cool sounds. And as we look at the last 6 winners of this category, oddly enough, you see 6 films that are fairly large in scale, but fairly lacking in science fiction besides Gravity. I think Arrival will continue what Gravity attempted to start in 2013 by continuing the sci-fi genre's excellence in the audio storytelling department. Okay, so moving along to our 6th category of the evening, Best Visual Effects. Now, visual effects can completely make or break a film experience for you, because generally films that make use of noticeable visual effects typically rely very heavily on CGI and enhancing the visual experience that you're participating in. If the CGI sucks, you'll be more focused on why it sucks and how it's destroying your immersion into this world and story, and if it's great like the 5 nominees I'm about to mention, you can find yourself captivated by the story being told and the world in which it takes place. Let's take a look at our 5 nominees for Best Visual Effects of 2016 film. Deepwater Horizon, Doctor Strange, The Jungle Book, Kubo and the Two Strings, and Rogue One, A Star Wars Story. And my prediction for the Oscar is The Jungle Book. The Jungle Book offers a visual experience that's just too great to ignore. This film has single-handedly set a new standard for future live-action films, both for Disney and the rest of the industry. These CGI animals and environments look about as lifelike as you could possibly make them, and this whole jungle just has so much life to it. And it's basically 99% CGI, but it looks as real as any jungle I've ever seen in the real world or in photos. The characters feel alive, the jungle looks beautiful and feels dangerous and exciting at the same time, and the visual experience the Jungle Book delivers is absolutely amazing. Something to note is that in 2011 through 2013, the winner of Best Visual Effects also won the award for Best Cinematography, but in 2014 and 15, the winners in Interstellar and Ex Machina weren't even nominated for Best Cinematography. Regardless, the 2 most comparable films to The Jungle Book out of the last 5 winners are Gravity and Life of Pi, because those 2 films really were groundbreaking films that greatly advanced the capabilities of live-action filmmaking. I think The Jungle Book does the exact same thing, and that's why I think it will and should win. Although only 2 of the last 5 Critics' Choice winners went on to win the Oscar, and the 2 winners of both of those were, you guessed it, Gravity and Life of Pi. And Jungle Book won the 2016 award, so I think it will continue the live-action trend. Alright then, so on to our 7th category of the evening, Best Director. Now, no ship can be led without its captain, and no film can be led without its director. Each of these 5 directors led the way in what are believed by many, public and critics alike, to be great films. These 5 directors provided their respective film with a vision and direction, and this is going to be an extremely tough decision for the Academy to make. With that said, your 5 nominees for Best Director of 2016 film are Denis Villeneuve, Arrival, Mel Gibson, Hacksaw Ridge, Damien Chazelle, La La Land, Kenneth Lonergan, Manchester by the Sea, and Barry Jenkins, Moonlight. And my prediction for the Oscar is... Got kind of crinkled, but... Damien Chazelle, La La Land. I think Damien Chazelle will win this award not just because of how great the storytelling of La La Land is, but also the creativity of the vision and direction of the storytelling itself, and the sheer scale and logistical difficulty of the film. I think La La Land has a lot going on, and I don't think this film would be anywhere near as good without the creative vision of Damien Chazelle. Hell, I don't even think most people would make this movie today, but he did, and he did it in his own extremely impressive and creative way. So if we look back at the past 5 Oscar winners, what I noticed is sort of a mixed bag. You have Ang Lee, who won before for Brokeback Mountain, Alejandro Inarritu, who won twice in a row, and 2 other first-time winners. When you look at this year's crop, the only previous winner is Mel Gibson, and the only person on the list that's ever been nominated before besides Mel Gibson is Damien Chazelle. When you match up the Critics' Choice Awards to the Oscars, only 2 of the 5 winners coincide, so it's hard to say whether this is an accurate predictor or not, but it is worth noting that Damien Chazelle took home the Critics' Choice Award for Best Director this year. I think he should and will win this category come Oscar night. Okay then, so on to our 8th category of the evening, Best Animated Feature Film. 2016 was one of the best years for animation ever. We were delivered some great films that in my opinion will go down as some of the greatest animated films ever made. These films combine brilliant emotional storytelling with excellent animation and beautifully designed characters. With that said, here are the 5 nominees for Best Animated Feature Film of 2016. Kubo and the Two Strings, Moana, My Life as a Zucchini, The Red Turtle, and Zootopia. And my prediction for the Oscar is... Zootopia. Zootopia is a truly amazing film because it takes the standard buddy adventure comedy formula and delivers it to you in a way that somehow feels fresh. Zootopia doesn't change the formula all that much. It executes it at a level that most animated films could never dream of. It takes a brilliantly crafted and animated world that has life to it, characters that are extremely likable and among Disney's finest work, and a story that's funny and emotional at the same time. Zootopia is fantastic. Okay, so does the information available agree with my prediction? Well, 3 of the last 5 Oscar winners are Disney films in the animated category, and 2 of the 5 films you could probably argue are buddy adventure films with comedy mixed in, which sounds like Zootopia to me. And when we look back at the last 5 Critics' Choice Awards winners for Best Animated Film, 3 of the 5 went on to win the Oscar, and Zootopia took home the Critics' Choice Award for Best Animated Film for 2016, so I'm predicting Zootopia will also win the Oscar. It's a great film and I have no problem with this choice. Alright, so next up is Best Adapted Screenplay. This is also a tough category to pick because all we really have to go on is the description of the award itself on Wikipedia, which is, as you'd expect it to be, fairly vague. Regardless though, these 5 nominees all took pre-existing materials from books, plays, or real-life stories and managed to take those stories and translate them to the big screen in a spectacular fashion. Adapting a screenplay from another source or medium is not as cut and dry as you think it would be because certain stories fit certain forms of entertainment better than others, but these 5 screenplays all were beautifully adapted from some at the very least significantly different source material. With that said, the 5 nominees for Best Adapted Screenplay of 2016 film are Arrival, Fences, Hidden Figures, Moonlight, and Lion. And my prediction for the Oscar is Fences. The reason I think Fences will win this award is not because it's necessarily the best of the 5 films. I think it will win because of how impressive the adaptation process was. Bear in mind that this film is based on a recurring play of the same name, and when you realize that, the film makes more sense because all of it basically takes place in the same general area, mostly the Maxon residence. I think the screenplay that was adapted from the actual play itself is brilliant to say the least because it enhances the drama of the story in a way that would only be fitting for a film. And looking back at the past 5 winners of this award, all 5 of them are based on novels or memoirs, which gives me a sneaky suspicion that the Academy will likely look for a change of pace this year. Also, Arrival won the Critics' Choice Award for Best Adapted Screenplay in 2016, but only 2 of the 5 previous winners of this category went on to win the Oscar. I'm saying Fences will win this award come Sunday night. Alright, so next up is Best Original Screenplay. Original meaning no sequels, not based off any pre-existing piece of content, and it's completely creative and brand new in its own right. I think for this specific category, the Academy is likely looking for creativity, but also something completely new as well. With that said, let's take a look at the 5 nominees for Best Original Screenplay of 2016 film. Hell or High Water, La La Land, The Lobster, Manchester by the Sea, and 20th Century Women. And my prediction for the Oscar is Manchester by the Sea. Now this wouldn't be my choice, but I think Manchester by the Sea is a film that resonated very deeply among a lot of people, especially with the critics. It's actually a pretty original and unique story because I've never seen another film like it ever. It's pretty dark and gritty and it never really gets any brighter. And I think the general flow of the film is also pretty unusual, but like I said, it affected a lot of people very deeply. I think the screenplay is exactly what the Academy is looking for here. Original but still good is the target to hit here. So looking at the last 5 Oscar winners in this category, only 2 of the 5 went on to win the Best Picture award, but more importantly, I think you could argue all 5 of them are pretty damn unique in a lot of ways. They all deliver a story that's pretty special and unlike really anything else most of us have ever seen before. So Manchester by the Sea actually tied with La La Land for this award at the Critics' Choice Awards this year, but all 5 of the previous winners also went on to win the Oscar. I think this category is a 2-horse race between Manchester by the Sea and La La Land. Okay, so on to a big category of the evening, Best Actress in a Leading Role. I honestly think this is the deepest and hardest category to judge because while I don't agree with every single nomination, especially considering some of the great actresses that got left off the list, Best Lead Actress for 2016 film is full of great performances from these 5 and many more. They carried their films and led the way in what mostly proved to be really enjoyable experiences. With that said, let's take a look at the 5 nominees for Best Lead Actress of 2016 film. Isabel Huppert, Elle, Natalie Portman, Jackie, Emma Stone, La La Land, Meryl Streep, Florence Foster Jenkins, and Ruth Negga, Love It. And my prediction for the Oscar is Emma Stone, La La Land. While Emma Stone has delivered great performances before, I think this one is her true breakout performance into superstardom. She laughed, she cried, she danced, she sang, she did everything you could possibly ask for from an actress, and then some, and all of it happened in a way that'll leave you absolutely floored with how amazing her performance was. She is easily one of the best actresses in the game right now, and honestly, she's just getting started. She's going to be a huge star for a long time. So looking at the past 5 Oscar winners in this category, 3 of the 5 were first-time winners, 2 of which were first-time nominees. Emma Stone was actually nominated for a supporting award for her work in Birdman, but she has not won an Academy Award before. 4 of the past 5 winners of the Screen Actors Guild Award for Best Lead Actress went on to win the Oscar, and Emma Stone won in 2016, so she is the strong favorite right now, and deservedly so in my eyes. Alright, so it would make sense that our next category is actually Best Actor in a Leading Role. This is a deep year for leading actors as well, because all 5 of these nominees and many others who were left off the list delivered unforgettable career-changing performances. These leading men either further established their excellence or broke onto the scene and displayed their level of proficiency and artistry in a spectacular fashion. Let's take a look at the 5 nominees for Best Actor for 2016 film. Casey Affleck, Manchester by the Sea; Andrew Garfield, Hacksaw Ridge; Ryan Gosling, La La Land; Viggo Mortensen, Captain Fantastic; and Denzel Washington, Fences. And my prediction for the Oscar is Casey Affleck, Manchester by the Sea. Now this wouldn't be my choice, but I have a feeling the Academy is gonna go with Casey Affleck, who burst into the A-list spotlight with his performance in Manchester by the Sea. I think Casey Affleck was probably the best part of this movie for me, because his character has a ton of baggage and layers to him, and he did a really good job not necessarily portraying a likable character, but an ultra-realistic one. If we look back at the past 5 Oscar winners in this category, 4 of the 5 were first-time winners, which actually seems to be a fairly prevalent trend among most of the individual awards, but here's where the available information disagrees with me. The last 5 SAG Award winners for Best Lead Actor went on to win the Oscar as well, and Denzel Washington took home the award for his role in Fences for 2016, but Casey Affleck won the Critics' Choice Award for Best Lead Actor, meaning this is most likely an award that will be won by one of those 2 actors. Alright, we're at the final category of the night, Best Picture. I honestly believe that 2016 was one of the best years for film of all time. Doing my top 10 list was extremely difficult for me because I felt like I was leaving so many really awesome films off the list. There were a lot of stories brought to the big screen this year that made tons of people feel a wide variety of emotions, and these 9 films nominated by the Academy are all very unique and entertaining films in their own right. Let's take a look at the 9 nominees for Best Picture of 2016 film. Arrival, Fences, Hell or High Water, Hacksaw Ridge, La La Land, Manchester by the Sea, Moonlight, Hidden Figures, Lion, and nothing else, because the Academy insists on not nominating 10 films even though there's 10 spots. Wait, how did he get there? Get out of there. There we go. And my prediction for the Oscar is La La Land. I think La La Land is almost everyone's favorite to win this award come Oscar night. I think the experience that this film delivers is really something that most of us have never seen anything like before, especially the younger audiences who don't really see many musicals nowadays. I'm not even a big fan of musicals, but La La Land was my favorite film of 2016 because it seamlessly blended fantastic music with amazing acting performances and an extremely touching story. One notable element I found from the last 5 Best Picture Oscar winners were that 3 of the 5 most recent winners were films based on true stories or actual events. La La Land obviously doesn't fall under that category, but I think it more closely resembles the 2014 film Birdman in its mixture of fantastical and realistic elements. 4 of the last 5 winners of the Critics' Choice Award for Best Picture went on to win the Oscar, and the 2016 Critics' Choice winner was La La Land for Best Picture, who I think will and should win this award come Oscar night. Okay, so all of you out there that attended this prediction show or are watching at home, thank you so much for your time and support. This prediction show would not be possible without your encouragement and engagement, so thank you for that. Before we end the show though, I want to let you guys know that I'm likely going to be streaming live during the Oscar ceremony come Sunday night. Why not stop by, hang out, and have some conversations with me and everyone else? So make sure to follow me on social media to keep up to date with my plan for this Sunday, as well as other things in the future. And of course, drop a comment below, let me know your thoughts on my predictions, where you think I missed things, where you think I nailed things, what are your predictions for the big categories. Make sure to comment and I'll interact with you guys. That's all for now though. This is WillFoxification signing off, and that's a wrap for the 2017 Oscar Prediction Show. Good night.